Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling, your ultimate destination for all things WWE. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fanatic or just a casual viewer, we've got you covered with the latest news, in-depth show reviews, and our unfiltered opinions on everything happening in the world of professional wrestling. Get ready to step into the ring with us and stay on top of the wrestling world. This is Top Tier Wrestling. Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling. I'm your host, the walking weapon, Josh, Kurt Angle from Wish. And joining me is the original cosmic babe of wrath, Dawn. We're breaking down AEW Dynamite Maximum Carnage taking place in Phoenix, Arizona. Let's get into it.
Wow.
Did you like my Kurt Angle from Wish?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. So, yeah, this episode of Dynamite, I mean, without giving up the ghost up front, it was good. Maximum Carnage did not betray, even though it wasn't like extended or anything. It was essentially a normal episode of Dynamite, but the card was phenomenal. And speaking of that card, after some quick promos from I want to say Samoa Joe got on there and said that Hangman Adam Page, he's put a bounty out on him, and that sets up a match that's happening later in the evening between the bounty hunter Brian Keith and Hangman Adam Page. We pretty much get into the action fairly quickly. I think we timed it because we were comparing and contrasting it with WWE's Raw, where it was like 20 freaking 3 minutes before we got to any in-ring action.
First match,
it was like 2 minutes before we got to Darby Allin versus Pac, which is the first match of the night. And the setup for this match is that Darby Allin blackmailed Pac into this blackmailed Pac into this match because he wants
say that
to
3 times fast.
No, I couldn't say it 1 time fast, so I'm gonna pass. But Darby blackmailed Pac into this match because Darby is trying to collect them all when it comes to wins over the Death Riders. He wasn't able to get it all done in 2025. Pac was the outlier, unless he's going to be a psycho and go after Marina Shafir. But and he might. He's just crazy enough to do it, and Marina's just crazy enough to take him up on it. But I digress. I don't want to start an internet rumor with that. But he does blackmail Pac into this match, and so that is the background setting for why this is occurring. And just to offer my thoughts on this opening match, in his continued quest to defeat all of the Death Riders as well as destroy himself in the process. Darby Allin, demanded this match with Pac, and it was an absolute banger. For me, this really set the tone and the start of the show. Like, this is the kind of crazy match for the sickos that AEW is either well known for or infamous for, depending on your opinion of AEW. For me, I'm one of the sickos, so this was great. Some of the bumps that Darby ended up taking from the bastard Pac, most notably the belly-to-belly suplex on the outside of the ring onto ring steps, like full bore, just onto the pointy edges of the ring steps, was psychotic. And that wasn't even all of it. Like, I mean, Pac was tossing Darby Allin all over the place, whether it was an avalanche belly-to-belly. Like, Pac's mission was to break Darby's spine. And the topper, the last major like destroy Darby Allin moment of the match, I believe, was when Pac lifted up Darby Allin into a crucifix powerbomb position and border tossed him over the top rope onto the entrance ramp, just yeeted him out of the ring like with reckless abandon. And at this point, I was listening for it. I was like, "Where's the 'Don't kill Darby' chants?"
Yeah, it didn't
The
happen.
Arizona crowd is apparently bloodthirsty. They're like, "No, go ahead." You know?
No, it's okay.
And I mean, hey, I guess Darby doesn't seem to have a problem with it. I think he likes it or something. I don't know, but
He's
it was
insane.
it was an excellent match, and as it it was great is what I got without going into too much more detail. I want to save some for you. What were your thoughts on this one?
Oh, you could have kept going, but I mean, because I'm gonna have the same thing. It was great. No, it was I mean, it was a really great match. But yeah, that the belly to belly onto the stairs. Oh my God, I felt that in my toes. Um,
Yeah, yep.
like yeah, my back was like oh, and it hadn't even happened to me. And my back like sympathy pain. My back was like ah. Um, that was insane. The crucifix power bomb or no, not the power, not a power bomb, but oh my God,
It
you know what
was
I'm
that
talking about. Was it?
That's
Yeah, yeah.
basically accurate. Yeah, the I
Where he
call it the
yeets him
border toss
onto the ref.
because he literally threw him out, which is what the border toss is, as opposed to like the outsider edge, which is the other most famous crucifix powerbomb,
Right.
which is more of just bringing them straight down. But yeah, I mean you have the right of it.
Well, yeah. It that. Listen, Darby. I don't have children, but I think all women at a certain age end up feeling like I don't know, like a mom button hits, like it flicks, it switches on, and we are like, "Oh my God, he needs some soup!"
Right,
Like,
go scoop him up, put him in bed, and offer him some soup.
it's like,
Just take care of
no,
him.
bake this young man some cookies. Um, yeah, and that's like like he flicks that switch for me where I'm just like, bro, oh my God, call your family right now. Soon as you get
Yeah,
up backstage, call your mom, tell her you're fine, go home, eat a casserole. That's how I feel. But real talk, he's crazy. And he's quickly become one of my favorites in AEW just because he's absolutely insane. And when it comes to a smaller competitor, he shows us exactly what someone of that stature can be made of, and he is made of insanity. Um, I do like the ending. I do like the ending of this match. I do because I mean I think it's no mystery for those that have seen who won. Um, but I do like the ending. Like Darby did try to give as good as he got. It's just unfortunately for Darby, a lot of giving involves him throwing himself and hurting himself in the process.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Darby does end up winning, but it does feel like a bit of a Pyrrhic victory because he took so much damage to get to that point.
yeah, he had to basically go David and Goliath for, 15, 20 minutes. Um, if David and Goliath actually fought in, each other like hand to hand and it wasn't, some pussy rock with a slingshot. Yeah, I said it. Anyway, I said what I said. Um, but I mean, yeah, this was a fantastic opener. AEW really seems to get it. Uh, there's not a lot of time wasted. It's just, hey, let's get right into the action. They understand why people are watching. It's not to watch a promo. It's not to watch a recap of a show that we've already watched. It's to get right into the thick of it. It's right to get right into the wrestling, and that's exactly what they offer. That's exactly what they did here. No exceptions. I mean, yeah, great opener.
Yeah. And just to kind of detail the finish for the listeners, near the end of the match, Darby Allin has Pac in the Scorpion Deathlock, and Pac has re-injured his previously injured ankle. So this is pretty devastating. And you see Pac um tap out, but the problem is that in the segment just before that, the ref got squashed in the corner, and so there's no referee right now while Darby has Pac in the Scorpion Deathlock. And Wheeler Yuta of the Death Riders shows up with a chair, and he's gonna, you know, theoretically save the bastard Pac, but Darby Allin ends up drop kicking the chair into him and then hits him with a Scorpion Death Drop, and that eliminates Wheeler Yuta as any sort of help. I think at the time we were like, they just sent Yuta out. That's all he gets.
Yeah, that's all you got was
Like,
Yuta.
where no other Death Riders. Okay. Um, and so what this allows Darby Allin to do is I want to say he hits another Scorpion Death Drop on the bastard Pac to kind
He
of
does.
like lay him out a bit more, and then he wraps the chair that Wheeler Yuta brought in around Pac's ankle and does a coffin drop off the middle rope onto Pac's ankle, you know, damaging it significantly. And then he puts Pac back into the Scorpion Death Lock. And at this point, the referee is recovered enough to see as the bastard Pac taps out, and Allin gets the win in what is a phenomenal opening match to
Yeah,
Maximum Carnage. Um, I
yeah.
really don't have much more to say than that. Like, it was just good. It was so good, and it was so high octane to get your heart racing and just set the tone. Like, this is AEW. You came to see some sick shit. Here you go. So
Yeah. Sick shit we did indeed see.
well, in continuing the momentum, um, we are then brought to the bounty hunter Brian Keith versus Hangman Adam Page. And since I sort of led off with my thoughts on the first match, what were your thoughts on Hangman versus bounty hunter Brian Keith?
Well, Brian Keith, first of all, from Greens Point, Texas. Um, Listen, for those of you in Texas, especially Houston, um, when you hear somebody say that a wrestler is from Greens Point, Greens Point, Texas, how does it make you feel? Isn't that weird? That's kind of like somebody saying from Willowbrook, Texas,
Yeah,
or
it's interesting that he went even more granular by picking like his neighborhood in the greater Houston area to be from.
yeah, like from Inner Loop, Texas. Like that's essentially what's happening. That is weird. But any squay, the match itself,
Yeah.
again, again, this was you're gonna hear me beating this dead horse, and I apologize, guys, that I'm beating a dead horse. I didn't kill it. Um, but it is here to beat. But uh, you're gonna hear me say this a lot when it comes to a lot of AEW matches. It was really, really good. I think this was a really good bump for Brian Keith. I don't know if I mean, like, this feels like a really big deal match. And I know he's had a match with Hangman before. Um, but at this time in Hangman's career, I think it's great that Brian Keith is up there, rubbing shoulders with, one of the big superstar names of
Hmm.
AEW.
Yep.
Um, but I mean, that's not anything new. AEW does that a lot. Collision is literally that. Um, but on Dynamite, Hangman versus Brian Keith, the second match of the night. That's fucking crazy. So I think that's a real good bump for Brian. Um, I'm not sure what they're doing with Big Bill, but that's another story. Um, that's another story. But he was there. He was there for the match. He was on ringside or on the apron. Um, but the match itself, Hangman, jeez, once again, Hangman. If you can't look good with a Hangman in the ring, I don't think it's Hangman's fault. Uh, I feel like Hangman is probably one of the best wrestlers that you'd want to get into the ring with. Like I
Yeah.
think,
Yep.
and if you do your job, then he's gonna do nothing but elevate you and make you look fantastic. And if you can return the favor, then you're gonna have a spectacular match. But Hangman is such a like he's such a presence in the ring that I AEW got something real special with that. Brian Keith, I feel like Brian Keith has a very bright future, and especially in AEW, I think if he hangs in there, he'll end up with a belt around his waist if he just keeps
Yep.
doing what he's doing, because he is also another fantastic talent in the ring. Um, and these two looked fantastic together. Um, but yeah, that's really all that I have to say there. Hangman is uh probably one of the best wrestlers as far as like just overall. He's like an MVP, you know what I mean? Like he's got the in-ring work, he's got the
Yeah.
character, he's got the mic work, like he's the trifecta there. Um and that you're talking about one hell of a catch for your wrestling promotion.
Yeah. There's absolutely a reason that Hangman is called the main character of AEW. Like
Yeah.
he is probably one of the best to ever do it. And certainly he's comfortably at the top in AEW.
Yeah.
He's their version of Roman Reigns, if you ask me. Only he's still got a lot more career left in him.
Yeah, I agree. And that's not a shot to Roman. Roman's like
No.
37, 38. I think, he's getting close to retiring.
Yeah, I don't think it's any secret or that we're giving a hot take that Roman is on the back half of his career with pro
Yeah.
wrestling. Again, that's just a fact about Roman. That's not a diss on him. We like
No.
Roman
No,
Reigns,
no. Yeah,
so I
absolutely.
don't know. I hope it doesn't get interpreted as that. But to offer my thoughts, Brian Keith got to show his stuff here. And
Yeah.
to kind of echo your sentiments, this is something I really like about AEW. They don't preserve their stars in ivory to only be used on super rare occasions and
Yeah.
only against other top guys. This would be the equivalent of like Cody Rhodes having a match with, say, like Chad Gable, or Roman coming back to have a match with The Miz.
Yeah.
And it's common for their top guys to participate with the rest of the roster. They're not sequestered off in this special bubble like they are in, say, WWE. And I really
And
like
it's not
that.
taken as a joke either.
Yeah. Um yeah, it's not like if people saw Cody Rhodes versus Chad Gable or Roman versus The Miz, they would immediately think this is a joke and they know exactly who's going to win.
Yeah. It's gonna be a
Neither of
squash.
those things are the case in AEW.
No.
Like there's no match. it- it's much more rare that there's a
Yes.
matchup amongst main roster talent that is guaranteed to go one way or the other in AEW in the same way it is in WWE. And that makes it more compelling. I feel like one of the things Tony Khan understood as a fan of the Monday Night Wars was that he understood that in that era, especially on the WWE side where you saw the emergence of, say, The Rock and Stone Cold and Kane and Taker and Mankind, was that you had a whole roster of guys that could be the guy on any given night. And that made for compelling television because it wasn't a foregone conclusion. Like they didn't know for sure who was going to win in these matchups. And I
Yeah.
feel like AEW is trying to make that feel like it's the case with any given night's matchups. The main event is a good example of that, actually. Um,
Yeah.
and this was a solid match. And just to kind of speak to how it ends up ending, Brian Keith tries to leverage Big Bill as outside interference, only for that plan to literally be hung out to dry as Swerve shows up with a chain to wrap it around Bill's neck and kind of take him out of that. And that provides the opening for Page to hit the buckshot lariat on Brian Keith and pick up the win. And it was a good match. Brian Keith was, hanging in there. And I will say one thing: Brian Keith has like this lunging headbutt that he does either when he's getting up off the mat or if he's got an opponent sat up on the top rope.
Yeah.
That I really am a fan of. It's
Yep.
not quite the same as say like a Glasgow kiss. This is more like a battering ram style headbutt with the top
Yeah.
of his head, but it just looks like devastating.
Yeah.
um and it was really good. I really do like seeing the top guys interacting with some of the not there yet guys and putting them over. And we're gonna see more of that later in the show. There's particularly like a segment where Hangman and Swerve are trying to, you know, brighten the spirits of speed. What is it? Jet Speed, and it
Yeah.
is perhaps one of the best kind of most touching sort of things to see in pro wrestling. But we'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah, this was a phenomenal match. We're 2 matches in, and already wig blown back, and it's only going to get better from here. Now, after the end of that match, when I want to say Swerve gets into the ring and Hangman's in there. Hangman tells Keith to go collect another bounty, and he tells Samoa Joe that he's going to take everything from him. And Swerve, has his own mic, and he steps up to say that, if MJF wins tonight, it's not going to be a real victory because Swerve and Hangman are coming after him. But to make that even bigger, because I mean, you got Swerve and Hangman in the ring, something that anybody who's watched AEW is surprised to see in the first place.
Real
Uh,
talk.
but it's the team up we didn't know we needed. Um, you now have a returning Kenny Omega who comes out. And so now you've got Kenny Omega, Adam Page, and Swerve in the ring. And it's like you can feel the weight of these three titans of AEW in this ring. And Omega goes on to say that he's throwing his hat into the list of esteemed challengers that are on the hunt for the AEW World Championship. And Page and Omega have long been friends. So Page is smiling the whole time, that Omega comes out. And in response to Omega, letting everybody know that he's also a challenger in the hunt for the AEW championship, he says, sincerely, may the best man win if we end up having to cross paths. Not so much that same degree of happy and mutual respecty from
No.
Swerve, who leans in and kind of gives the disapproving look to Omega and then leaves the ring.
Yeah, you have to give him the puffy chest.
And then I want to say Omega kind of closes out the segment to say, as much as he'd love to stand there and talk to everybody, enjoying the sound of his own voice, he must bid us all. How did he do it? The adieu was slightly different.
Adieu.
Yeah. And just a nice moment there at the end with like the top guys of AEW, and they're all in the chase against Samoa Joe for that AEW championship belt. Samoa is a marked man. It's funny he's calling out bounties because he's the guy who's got one on his back with that AEW championship.
Yeah, I think the only reason that they get Brian Keith for bounties is because they know they don't have to pay him because he never wins.
Aw, sad but true. Oh,
Sorry,
um,
Brian.
he's got to pick up one here pretty soon because I'm sure like they're in tune with that. And I agree with what you said. You're not sure about what they're doing with Big Bill, and I'm hoping that these guys are catching a direction. Like this is a sign that they're reestablishing themselves as something other than what was it, Redwood and Bad Apple, because they've
Yeah.
been kind of in limbo since the learning tree kind of isn't a thing anymore. And so I'm hoping they're either getting them back into the tag team division or that they're reestablishing that these dudes, while friends, are, very, credible singles competitors. Because I mean, Big Bill is just Big Bill. Like that almost is enough by itself, but he's also, good in the ring. And Brian Keith is really, really good in the ring. If
Yeah.
you've actually been watching him, so I'm definitely interested in seeing what more they do with Brian Keith and Big Bill. Oh, and I glossed over. I was too starry-eyed about Omega and Page and Swerve all in the ring, but apparently Don Callis came out. Boo. Boo to
Oh
that
yeah.
guy.
Well, yeah, he came out after Swerve and Hangman left and Kenny was still in the ring. Um, so you didn't breeze over it just yet. Like it's right, it's right there.
But he comes out to first run Omega into the ground, which is laughable. I mean, the dude is the god of wrestling for a reason. Um, but he then says if Omega needs to rack up some wins in his chase against or in his chase to pursue the AEW World Championship, he's offering a challenger. He offers the walking weapon, Josh Alexander.
Kurt Angle from Wish.
Exactly. He will never live that down, and you
No.
can thank Joe Hendry for that.
Yeah.
Um, and Omega says, "Well, I've got some time tonight." And Callis, of course, is like, no, no, next week." And all of Arizona's like, "Boo to that guy. We hate that guy." Um, and then it is after that that Omega bids adieu, or
Yeah.
adieu.
Ooh.
So, uh, after that, we have a brief segment where Rennie Packett is chatting with Brody King, but that segment is quickly interrupted by Jonathan Cruz, who, if you've never heard of him, we're not surprised, but he was the Spanish translator for the segment on the previous, I want to say Dynamite, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That MJF had when in his confrontation in ring with Bandito. And Jonathan Cruz is telling Brody, "Hey, when you see Bandito, pass on the message that he's never to punch me, kick me, suplex me, or otherwise touch me again." And Brody's like, yeah, sure. But tonight it's my turn." Uh, and Cruz is like, "Wait, what?" And Brody's like, "Yeah, you and me in a standby match." And Jonathan's like, look, I'm not dressed right. Nah, and then he takes off and Renee is like, "I'm sure he'll do fine." And Brody's like, whatever. And that leads us to the next match where we see Jonathan Cruz stumbling to the ring with a Brody King in pursuit. And right when Brody gets in, I want to say Jonathan Cruz tries to take a cheap shot and just kind of bounces off Brody King. And this is a really short squash match
Yeah.
where Brody basically obliterates Jonathan Cruz without even having to take his jacket off. In fact, it's not until this brutality is over, which I want to say amounted to like Cruz trying to attack Brody twice and essentially bouncing off, and Brody hitting him like 2 times prior to Gonzo bombing him out of existence. And then he takes off his jacket and lays it over the top of Cruz's face like it's a dead body. um, Following that, I want to say Brody says a few words about his friend Bandito having his match with MJF that night, and before long we'll have a new AEW champion. Is there anything you'd like to add to that? Because this was just an overt squash match, just to
Yeah.
have Brody King come out and Gonzo bomb Jonathan Cruz.
Yeah.
So I don't know that there's a ton to it, but go ahead.
No, no, no. There wasn't much to it. That was it. He just came out and squashed the hell out of him and then covered up his body. And we were all amused.
It was amusing. And I mean, as squash matches go, this one actually had a little bit of storyline relevance because it ties into Bandito and MJF's feud from the week before. So nicely done. It's never not fun to see Brody King destroy people. So
True.
I'm
True.
here for it.
Yeah.
And I love that, like, the Gonzo bomb would be a move that was either outright not allowed in WWE, or it would only be shown on like pay-per-views in rare segments and only by like Cody Rhodes, like the Vertebreaker is for him.
Yeah.
Whereas Brody King, he gets to use his finisher move with a regularity, like he can just do it and it's not a big deal. I mean, it is because it's a cool move, but it's not like AEW's like, oh no, save that. It
Yeah.
again, it would be like if in the Attitude Era we only got to see a Stone Cold Stunner or a Rock Bottom once every blue fucking moon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So good to see it. But following that quick match, we are set up with the AEW World Tag Team Championship #1 contender match. That's a mouthful. And it is 4 tag teams competing against each other for the spot of being the #1 contender to challenge FTR for the AEW World Tag Team belts. And this is Jet Speed. Hooray, we love those guys. The Gates
True.
of Agony, which are the Demand when Ricochet is involved, um, who have been looking fantastic lately, I have to say, like
Oh
better than
yeah.
they ever did.
Yep.
And of
Yep.
course, you've got the Young Bucks, which are at this point, I would say inarguably one of, if not the best tag teams to ever tag team in pro wrestling. And then the newly formed Don Callis family members, Davis and Doyle, and it's Mark Davis and Jake Doyle. And for those who may not be super familiar, Mark Davis was uh, Kyle Fletcher's tag team partner when they first arrived in AEW as part of the United Empire, and has since kind of like they both kind of are doing their own thing now because Kyle
Mhm.
Fletcher, while Mark Davis was out injured, like rose to the top as a singles competitor. And so Mark Davis is now here with a new tag team partner in Jake Doyle, who is formerly known as Jake something from TNA, who recently, I guess, became All Elite. And this is a powerhouse tag team. Mark Davis is no joke, and Jake Doyle is jacked as fuck. Like these are two big, crazy guys to be
Yeah.
throwing people around.
Yep.
And if you would, like, what were your thoughts on this extremely excellent multi-man match?
Well, I had already I'd seen Mark Davis. I had not seen Doyle as much. I think maybe one match back in TNA with the say his name and
Joe
he
Hendry?
appeared. Yeah, yeah, there you go. Clap clap. Uh so I hadn't seen much of him. I know that in that match he seemed to be very destructive. Like he looked like a powerhouse. So and if he was doing that in TNA, then I know that he's probably going to be disgusting in AEW. Um,
Yeah.
and from that, from this match, he looked disgusting. That tag team looks disgusting. Um, and I mean in a good way. This is a tag team that just would not have made it in WWE. You just think FTR. I mean, and you would see probably where they. I don't think they would have gotten as far as FTR did. Um, I don't think that we would see much of them in WWE, which is a shame because coming like just seeing these two dudes, and I know there were other men in the match, but we haven't seen a lot of Davis and Doyle, and this is the first time that they debuted as a tag team in AEW. So just the first time together, um, the fact that like this is probably one of the first times that we've even seen Doyle in the ring in AEW, and just all that combined, and still you got an excellent performance from both men, from Mark Davis and from Doyle. What is his name?
Jake.
Doyle, Jake Doyle. Excuse me. I mean, they looked fantastic. Look like they've been tag teaming for quite some time. Jet Speed, you can't go wrong with Jet Speed, man. Like these
No,
two young
they're
men
excellent.
are, yeah, they are on the way. They are definitely the future of AEW, and I like the fact that we get to see them now, and it's not something that's separate from the main show, if that makes any sense, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
they're not new guys who are only wrestling like at the bottom of the card. Here's an example, right? By contrast, it would be like the problem of Javon Evans showing up and wrestling like shit, like fucking Bravo of Grande Americano, right?
yeah,
Like he started at the bottom and now he's still at the bottom. Um, like they called him up and didn't immediately put him into something more relevant. Whereas Jet Speed is in there like with the top tag teams. Like they're in there with like right now the demand is sitting really up there. FTR is up there and they're in there with the Young Bucks.
yeah,
So again, they're not sequestering kind of the newer talent away from the established talent like we see happen. Like
yeah.
again, I
But
cite the Javon Evans Wrestling Bravo barf.
and I think that's really smart because I'm not sure how in any other circumstance, I'm not sure how you would get your future wrestling stars to be able to handle the pressure of main eventing shit. Like, how would you do that? At least you put them out there and have them do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so yeah, these guys are they are definitely on the way up. The future, the gates of agony. These two men with Ricochet. I don't know if it's Ricochet. I don't know if he's had anything to do with it. I don't know if they've been trained. I don't know what it is. But these two young men are on fire, and they like these last two matches that we've seen GOA in, um, have been ridiculous, man. They've done some crazy shit. They look freaking ridiculous. There's something nightmare fuelish about a team where you got a high flyer or a guy who can tear it up in the sky as well as on the mat, combined with somebody who could absolutely obliterate you if you land on the ground. Something amazing about that combination that makes
Yeah.
for one hell of a tag team. So I see bright things in their future. And of course, the Young Bucks, one of the greatest tag teams to ever fucking do it, period. So you know you're gonna have yourself a psychotic a psychotic match, and that's exactly what you get. But we knew that from jump. We knew that when the bell ding ding and people started coming out to the ring, we knew, oh my god, this is gonna be ridiculous, and they did not disappoint. I think you called it match of the night before it even started. I don't know if you still
Yeah.
have that sentiment.
I did. Right as it started, and we saw that it's a multi-man match, and that the Bucks are coming out. I was like, "Oh, they're already forecasting that this is going to be match of the night material."
Exactly. Exactly. I don't know if you still after the match, I don't know if you still had that same sentiment or not, but I thought that this was, if not the match, probably one of the best matches of the night. I think for me, the match of the night comes later, but not too much later, and we'll talk about it when it gets here. But
I was gonna,
this,
sorry, I was gonna speak to it later, but since you're bringing it up now, I'm stuck. I've got a three-way tie going between three different matches, one of which is this one.
mm, okay, okay, all right, I can see that. I can see that. I think I know what your other two are, but we'll see. Um, for me, this is one of the contenders for match of the night. Yes, fantastic match. With an ending that I can absolutely appreciate because it didn't feel like it was. It didn't feel like it was strained to get there. It was a very believable ending. Uh, and I mean, I got no bad remarks about it. It was top notch, top tier, if you will. Fantastic match.
Nice. Yeah, my thoughts on this one. I knew going in it was likely going to be a good one because this is right in AEW's wheelhouse. They're really good with multi-man matches, and this was a superb multi-man tornado tag match. Um, I am inclined to agree with you. To speak to the finish, Davis and Doyle end up picking up the win. And I find that phenomenal because they're the newest formed tag team. Um, and I feel like this is AEW showing that they've got a real good feeling about this new team and they're eager to get them over. And it also emphasizes that the Don Callis family is an existential threat to any championship
Seriously.
bracket right now.
Seriously.
Um, just to speak to the ending, after each team had their kind of moments to shine, right? Because we end up with these high spot runs of the different teams doing stuff, and it's great stuff. Like it's part of why I
Mm-hmm.
really like AEW's multi-man matches is that everybody ends up getting a chance to shine with their high spots. And near the end of the match, I want to say Jake Doyle gets a hold of Speedball Mike Bailey, and the other tag teams are kind of outside the ring, between the ring and the announce desk. And he picks up Speedball off the mat into a power bomb position and then proceeds to release power bomb him over the top rope out onto all the other teams that just knocks them
Yeah.
all down like pins in a bowling alley. And it looked good. It was a very dominant move. But just when you thought that was the dominant move, they go to the corner and Mark Davis kind of grabs the Jet Kevin Knight, who's down on the mat, grabs a hold of his ankles like he looks like he might be setting up for either a figure four or a sharpshooter or something, but he doesn't. He takes the ankles and just literally straight up lifts Kevin Knight off the mat and catches him into kind of a facing away pile driver position, and then
Yeah.
pile drives the absolute life out of Kevin Knight. Like Kevin Knight bounced like 8 inches to a foot off the mat, and then they proceed to pin him because he's dead.
Yeah.
Um, and it was just a phenomenal kind of like, well, the stage is set. We've taken care of all of the other tag teams that could interfere in the upcoming pinning predicament by power bombing Speedball onto all of them.
Yeah.
And then we proceeded to just body Kevin Knight.
Mm.
And it was fantastic. It really set in stone that Davis and Doyle are a team to be taken seriously. They have so much power between the two of them that they can destroy anybody at any given moment if they're allowed to get their hands on them.
Yeah, I would love to see Gates of Agony and Davis and Doyle go at it like just those two tag teams.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to see them destroy each other for a few.
Yeah, that would be definitely the like mighty meat match, right?
The
Um
mighty, yes, exactly.
and similarly, could you imagine like Benjamin and Lashley against these two?
Oh, yeah, that'd
I
be
mean, the ring would have to be reinforced. So
yeah,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, this is a powerhouse duo, and they made that point quite clearly here against all of the other top teams that were challenging to become number one contenders. If I was FTR, I'd be a little bit worried about Davis and Doyle, but I would have been worried about any of these tag teams because they're all very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, fantastic multi-man match, and certainly, as I kind of gave it away already, but definitely a contender of mine for match of the night.
Yeah. Is I mean, I think I helped give it away too. But is it just me uh that gets immediately the game in their heads Soul Calibur whenever somebody says the stage is set?
Oh, I could see that. I could see that.
It's, is it just me? Anybody out there? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
This is
Put
the
it
first
in
thing.
the comments. Do you hear Soul Calibur? Um, and we have after that incredible match, we have a small sobering moment as AEW takes some time to pay homage to the passing of Bob Weir from the Grateful Dead, who apparently was friends with Tony Khan. Rest in peace. Following that, we are taken backstage where we see Skyflight, which is the tag team of Top Flight and Scorpio Sky. And they are pointing out that they have two huge matches this week for Collision. Um, they're newly acquired because I've only seen her with them once. They're newly acquired, I guess, female member, Zeta Steel, will be facing off against Marina Shafir, and the
Oh
men will
boy.
be facing the Don Callis family.
Who from the Callis wow. Let's who from the Don Callis family?
I believe it's going to be a returning Kyle Fletcher. I seem to recall
Oh, that's right.
mentioning that he's coming back from his Japan tour. And I think they said something like, but he's going to be all tired and jet lagged. And I'm like, I doubt it, guys. I don't think, I mean, not to be a doomsayer, but I don't think this is looking like it's going to go well for Skyflight. But hey, here's hoping. We'll find out on Collision.
Yeah.
But following those announcements, we now come to a women's trios match, which is the Cosmic Babes of Wrath, and that's what you get when you add Chris Statlander to the Babes of Wrath, versus the Triangle of Madness, which is Julia Hart, Sky Blue, and Tekla.
Not touching that.
And I don't know. My thoughts on this one. This was a solid match where all of the women got to showcase and look pretty good. I would like to say I feel like Harley Cameron has come a long way with her in-ring work, and Sky Blue, ever since she returned from that debilitating ankle injury, has just been getting better and better. And man, does she look like she's been hitting the gym.
Yeah, she's
There
getting
was a
ripped.
there was a point in the match where she was delivering mounted punches to one of her opponents, and like from the camera angle you could see like the striations in her shoulders, like she is getting swole.
Yeah.
um and I would like to say some more, but it speaks to the ending of the match. Did you want to give your thoughts before I kind of go that way, or can I go ahead and say my...
Yeah, go for it. I mean, I'll say what I need to say after. Go for it.
Okay. um I want to say it was good that near the end of the match, Tekla has Willow lined up for a massive spear, and the spear is Tekla's finishing maneuver. And Chris Statlander was able to tag in, and she pushes Willow out of the way and ends up eating full bore the spear that Tekla had intended for Willow. And I felt like this was good because it kind of furthers the story arc of them patching up their friendship. Chris Statlander's watching Willow's back,
Yeah.
builds trust. Uh, but I also appreciated that it allowed Tekla to beat Statlander clean. Like, I feel like AEW is very good at making a champion look dominant but not invincible. And I
Yeah.
think that's
Yes. Yes.
healthy
Yes.
for the
Yes.
product, because if they seem invincible to all challengers, it makes for uncompelling matchups. And so Tekla getting a clean win when Statlander, ate the spear full bore, makes it look like Tekla and the Triangle of Madness are altogether a more compelling threat on the roster in general, but specifically, Tekla looks like a more compelling threat to Statlander's AEW Women's Championship. So I thought this was a very solid, and it was fun. It was a fun match. I am a
Yeah.
fan of the Babes of Wrath and Chris Statlander, and I'm becoming more and more of a fan of the Triangle of Madness, particularly Tekla. Tekla is insane.
She really
So,
is.
yeah, I felt like this was good stuff. What were your thoughts?
Excuse me. Well, first I have to kind of applaud the women's division in AEW because it has just gotten increasingly better. For a while there, uh, I was getting into AEW. I could feel myself getting into AEW, being more interested in what was happening with the wrestlers there than in any other promotion that I was watching at the time. But I would always have a caveat, which was, but that women division though. Um, and I can't have that caveat now. Like the women's division has come a long way in a very short amount of time if you really think about it.
Yeah, I completely
Um
agree.
like and we're not talking about, oh well, they just got new wrestlers. No, no, no. The same women that were struggling in the ring are now dominant. They appear dominant. They're coming out with some moves that the dudes would be doing with each other. There are no chick moves in AEW, if that makes any sense. You know what? It should make sense to you when I say there are no chick moves necessarily in AEW. Whatever the guys can do, the women will do with each other. The spear, for example, from Tekla, which is played out. We all know that everybody does the spear. However, the spear on Tekla looks dominant. It looks hella good. She's one of the smaller competitors, and you don't think that when she's giving your ass a spear. Um, you're thinking you just got hit with a bullet. She gives it her all, and it looks impressive. And for her to spear Statlander, two thumbs up, man. Two thumbs up. And you're correct. It does further the storyline, but also it makes Tekla look dominant. And that's impressive. Um, she's also crazy. Like, literally, she's crazy. When I look at women like this, when I look at like female competitors like this, in AEW, I wonder what superstars in other promotions like WWE, for example, um, what some of their wrestlers think about it. Like, I wonder, even if, especially the ones that used to be in AEW and then went to WWE or other promotions thinking that the grass was greener. I wonder how they feel when they see the success of competitors that are very similar to them in AEW. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I feel like you have called out Blake Monroe by name.
I'm just saying. Who?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah. Um I'm pretty sure there are several people that maybe 9 times out of 10 are male between the ages of 18 to 35 that think Blake Monroe is the best jack off session they've ever. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Oh
kidding,
Lord.
guys. I'm kidding. No. I'm sure that they think she's fantastic. They think she's really pretty, and she's the total package, and it's like it's working for her. Um and I'm sure that that will keep her career going for quite some time as long as she keeps that up. As long as she's biting her finger whenever she gets into the ring, then she's gonna have an audience and she's gonna have some people willing to pay to see her, and they're gonna push her. I mean, they're just gonna, and that's fantastic for her career. Two thumbs up. But I mean, there's also women like oh my god. Oh my god, her name is on the tip of my tongue. Vicaire, Stephanie. Like,
Stephanie
yes,
McCare. Yeah.
yes, 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 yes. WWE is pushing her, but I would tell you, or I would ask you guys to take a look at her in ring work in WWE versus other promotions. There's a difference. Um, there's a difference, and the dominance kind of dies out in WWE, for example. Look at Penta, same thing there. And I'm not trying to go down this comparative, like, um angle where I'm saying who's better and what's better. I'm saying that I feel like there is a difference, that it could be good, it could be bad, but for AEW, it's working out. There's a difference between letting someone create and evolve their character versus telling somebody this is the character that you have to be.
Yeah.
And I mean, or this is the character you have to be. These are the approved list of moves that you are allowed to do, versus if you can do a move and you can do it safely, then you are expected to do what you have been hired to do. There's a difference
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and I think you're bringing up a good point. And I mean, I don't mind if we want to do specific comparisons between WWE and AEW. I mean, it should be no secret that after 2025, we're shifting our coverage to AEW because AEW is firing on all cylinders, whereas WWE feels like it can't seem to get anything right. And so I'm more than happy to draw the direct contrast. I feel like wrestlers in AEW are allowed to use what they can do in the ring to help complete their expression more freely.
Yeah,
Whereas in WWE, it's all overproduced. It's super like advertiser safe now, and it just doesn't have the impact, especially in ring. Like the stark difference, the biggest difference between the two promotions is what the wrestlers are able to do in the ring.
yeah,
And it's not that like Cody Rhodes can't do a vertebreaker or that Kevin Owens doesn't remember how to do a package power bomb. They're just not allowed to.
yeah,
And that freedom to be able to express themselves with their in-ring work on top of what they can do as a character, is night and day, and it makes a huge difference, and it appeals to the many aspects of what make up professional wrestling. And to behave like WWE does, like the in-ring work can be just cookie cutter and it matters the least, is giving up ground to AEW that even Sports Illustrated had to acknowledge.
yeah,
So that's just a place that until WWE decides to go there, AEW has them by the short and curlies. You can do and have just so much better, sicker, more amazing matches in AEW, and they do on a regular basis. I mean, I can't express to you the difference. Well, I mean, I'm going to, so I guess I can. But the difference is so stark between the thrill ride that Dynamite was compared to the snooze that Raw was this week.
yeah,
Like in all of the 3 hours of Raw, there was only one moment when Braun Breaker came down and speared the absolute fucking bejesus out of Dragon Lee and then got in Pierce's face that I was actually entertained. Everything else was so damn boring. I couldn't even, I was struggling to stay awake even in the main event between AJ Styles and Gunter.
yeah,
Like it just was boring. And I don't feel that way when I'm tuned into AEW. Like I'm counting the minutes and keeping my hand, because we look at it on our computers on Netflix. I'm keeping my hand on the mouse to fast forward past the long stints of them just showing the skyline of the goddamn city they're into, the long stints of them talking about like other AEW or not, sorry, WWE tangential shit, or them talking about stuff that has nothing to do with the wrestling product we're looking at, like promoting whoever's on Netflix this week, or like that entirely self, like, aggrandizing moment of Triple H sitting in front of his computer with
oh
all these Netflix
wow,
stars begging for his attention. It was just a fucking jack off
wow,
session for the
yeah,
WWE. And I just didn't feel like watching it. I was counting the minutes and keeping my hand on the trigger to fast forward through the bullshit, which there is a lot. You fast forward to only the parts that might have been worth seeing, and you maybe, if you're lucky, got 30 to 45 minutes worth of shit out of 3 hours on Raw. Whereas, like, when Dynamite is over, we're like, damn, that quick, you
yeah,
know? And they get it's not because they didn't give us much. It's the same 2 hours that SmackDown used to have, but they managed to squeeze in 6 matches and the shit stays really focused on the professional wrestling. There's not so much side noise and bullshit and just stark straight up advertising at us. There's so much more respect for the fans' interest and their time and good use of their pacing that AEW altogether is a superior product to what WWE is putting out right now. And that should
yeah,
be incredibly embarrassing for WWE because, as everybody who is more into WWE will tell you, they're the biggest. They've got the biggest global presence, they've got the stock market shares. And oh, yeah, but they're producing shit. That's the bottom line truth. I
yeah,
mean, that's just the case. And to kind of quote Becky Lynch, we're not the only ones thinking it or saying it. I watch other people who have commentary about WWE, whether it's, Stevie Richards or Maven or just anybody who's got a commentary. The general consensus is that AEW's product is stale and they are screwing up. Like, it's not good.
No.
So this offers AEW a chance to get in there and be the new best product going. And I think they are. They might not be the biggest company, but they are producing the best product.
Yep.
I will die on that fucking hill. And so that's why we've shifted our attention, because AEW is firing on all cylinders and WWE is broken down by the side of the road. That's just the truth. It was the truth coming out of 2025, which highlighted it clear as day. And it's still the truth here in the early part of 2026.
Yep. I mean, you are not wrong.
No,
Yeah.
and I absolutely agree with your assessment that the women's division is growing exponentially and improving exponentially in AEW. I generally think AEW is also doing better with, promoting their newer stars and building out their roster so that there isn't clearly a top, middle, and bottom of the card.
Yeah.
Everybody is the guy or gal on the night that has a chance to pick up a victory against anybody else. No one is safe. No one's untouchable. Nobody sits on an ivory tower of I only have to show up once in a blue moon. I mean, the closest thing might be MJF when he goes off to do a movie from time to time, but even he will show up and lose matches, so he's not untouchable. So I just generally think that Tony Khan understands it better, or whoever he's working with understands it better. They're doing a better job at making compelling booking. They're doing a better job at their in-ring, which has been their claim to fame from day one, 6, 7 years ago now when
That's
they came
six,
into
seven.
existence. 6, 7. Um, Suddenly I think of Javon Evans.
Oh no.
But I just think that they are getting everything right that you need to get right to produce a wrestling program, whereas WWE feels like it's almost contemptuous for the fact that they're rooted in pro wrestling and they wish they didn't have to bother with it because it interferes with their long play commercial and variety show. And that's just how I feel about it now. That's my take. That's my reasoning for shifting our focus to AEW's product, because as a wrestling fan, I'm I honestly find that is where the best wrestling is taking place and is what is worth talking about right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do think that this women's
Yeah.
match was very good, and I
Yeah.
do like the way that Chris Statlander is a dominant champion, but not an invincible one.
Yeah.
Moving on from that phenomenal women's match, we have, and this is the segment that I kind of wanted to speak to, that I said I was going to speak to later.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, Renee Paquette, Renee Paquette,
Repack
um,
it.
is speaking to a dejected looking Jet Speed, talking about, well, you just suffered this loss. What's kind of next for you? But the interview is intruded upon as Swerve Strickland comes up behind Jet Speed and kind of puts his arms around Bailey and Knight. And he proceeds to say that Bailey and him are going to have to wrestle one day because he's impressed with Mike Bailey. And he says to Kevin Knight, hang in there. Your time is coming. When he was talking to Tony Khan about people he wanted to look at and was scouting new talents, Kevin Knight was one of the names he spoke to. So he has a lot of faith in young Jet Speed. And then after he kind of steps away, Hangman Page shows up and he says, well, you may have lost tonight, but how do you feel about taking the AEW trios titles from the Ops on Collision? And they're both like, wait, what? Are you serious right now? Are you for real? And Hangman is like, Yeah, I'm for real. I'm gonna go talk to Tony and make the match. And so right then and there, Hangman Page presents them with an opportunity to go directly after the trios titles with him versus the Ops. I I
Yeah,
couldn't I couldn't make a more put a fine point on it moment about how AEW mingles their top guys with their new guys than this.
yeah,
And it was great to see. It's great to see that Hangman doesn't sit so high above and look down his nose so low that he can't even see Jet Speed. He's here offering him an opportunity directly. And same with Swerve. Hell, Swerve exists as he is today because of Hangman. Hangman gave him what he needed to rise to the top. And I feel like they're doing it again here with Jet Speed. And it was just fantastic to see.
yeah. It was amazing. Class act. Again, I can't stress enough. AEW won. They struck oil whenever they got Hangman Adam Page. They just did. And not only that, but the fact that they let him create this character, they let him be like the what he's essentially created himself to be. It's amazing. It's amazing to see. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm here with everyone else that's here for the cowboy shit. It's fantastic. Um, and after that really kind of like wholesome moment of like the top guys on the roster, like the varsity team kind of saying, "Hey, JV, come join us." Um, we get told that the Rascals are coming soon to AEW, and I have no idea who those folks are. I've never heard of the Rascals, but apparently the crowd was happy about it. Have
Yeah.
you heard of the Rascals? Do you know anything about this team?
I have not heard anything about the Rascals. I don't know who they are. I haven't even looked them up or anything. I haven't done my due diligence.
Yeah, me either. So I'm kind of in the camp. I kind of was like, do I want to look into it or do I want to just be pleasantly surprised by whoever they end up being? And I think I'm going to go with the latter, so that my reaction to them is like genuine and untainted. But I'm curious to see. Like they warranted a specific advertisement announcing them, so maybe they're really good. We'll have
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the final match of the night, the main event, the AEW World Champion, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, who's better than you, and you know it, versus Bandito. And I'll let you go ahead and lead off with your thoughts on this main event. I've got mine, but I feel like I've been leading off with mine a bit much, so it's all you. What'd you think of this fantastic main event?
Match of the night. For me, this was a
Match of
match
the
of the
night.
night.
All right.
Yeah. For me it was. Um I Bandito, is that the new uh oh my god, Rey Mysterio? Like
Is
is he gonna
Bandito the Rey
be?
Mysterio of AEW? That's where you're going with it?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
I mean, honestly, because he is probably one of the best luchadors that I've seen in a minute. Um he's fantastic. That dude gets in the ring and can just do any freaking thing. And I hope he stays with AEW or a promotion like AEW. That's all I can say. Um because along with that conversation that we were just having about how other wrestlers feel, especially ones that used to be a part of AEW and then they left for greener pastures. I can't. I like, how does Ray Phoenix and Penta feel right now? Um, because I mean, and I know we're not. I'm not gonna go down this road every single time we bring up a match, but I can't help but compare them because whenever they left AEW, like that was felt. Um, they were one of or two of the bigger names in lucha libre in AEW. So when they left, bro, it was felt greatly. But I wonder if they were to leave WWE, would anybody even notice? Because we very seldom see him. And
Yeah.
when we do, it's in some other match where they're tied in to somebody else because apparently they're not big enough to hold the attention of the fans just by themselves. They got to come out and be attached with somebody, but not each other, which just makes no sense to me. They've constantly
Yeah.
kept putting both of these men in tag team matches, but put them on two different promotions. And I was thinking, oh, well, they're trying to elevate each promotion. I don't know how because they've done nothing with either. So, especially Ray. So, I'm like wondering, how do you guys feel watching other luchadors in AEW just flourish? They're thriving. Um, and speaking of thriving luchadors, Bandito gets in the ring and just gives it his all. And the match that MJ freaking F, buddy, bro, MJF is freaking amazing. That dude, generational talent, yes. Yes. I don't care if you guys don't like, you don't have to like his personality. You cannot deny this dude's skill in the ring. Holy crap. Him and Bandito together shut the front door. I did not expect for these two gentlemen to mesh so well and to give me an epic, almost operatic saga in the ring. I didn't see that coming. I did not see it coming. Like
Yeah.
a match.
Yep.
It wasn't just a match full of MJF cheating or MJF was still himself. He was still himself. Probably going to be one of the greatest heels of our time. He's probably this generation's Ric Flair if he keeps going the way he's going, because it's just going to be people loving him or loving to hate him. Either way it goes, this dude is freaking amazing in the ring. And cheese, Louise, Papa Cheese, that match for me, that was match of the night. It was absolutely amazing, and I'm done.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on everything you're saying. MJF, especially since he returned, they've kind
Oh,
of stepped away from him being a rat heel and more of him being a capable, dangerous heel. It seems that they remembered that he can win a match without having to kick someone in the balls, but he's not beneath doing that if it
he'll
becomes
still kick you in
necessary.
the balls.
But in this match, he didn't do any of that. The most he did was like eye rake Bandito. And at this point, that is just like the ref pointing his finger angrily, but no one's ever gotten DQ'd for it, right? Like, or hasn't in a while. So he does some of his rat heel stuff, but he also is fucking hilarious with the way he'll sell stuff. Like you'll hear him go, "Oh shit," and he's like, "No, wait, time out," shit like that, and it just adds personality to what's going on with the in ring action. Like he is in his character the entire time, even while he's getting like Mexican destroyered or anything else. And the way he sells certain moves is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, like he got hit later in the match with the 21 plex and he rotated all the way back up to onto his feet and then fell backwards just on the mat, and it was like that's amazing. He got I want to say poison ronad, and he ends up on his feet wobbly only for Bandito to kick him and then hit him with a code red you know, uh, sunset flip power bomb. So I mean, he gives as good as he gets in that ring. Like he's not asking folks to just take his shit and he's not going to sell anything of yours. He is absolutely as good as he says he fucking is. And that's saying something because he talks mad shit. Um and the rise of Bandito is absolutely a beautiful thing. Like in 2025, Bandito rose like almost organically with the people. Like, he was already getting over and was the Ring of Honor champion on his own. And then they paired him with Big Brody King, who, he was originally part of the House of Black, and the House of Black was trying to find out, figure out what they were doing. And Julia Hart kind of went off and did her thing, and it became Death Triangle. And Brody's longtime tag partner, Buddy Murphy, has been like injured into perpetuity. So I don't know what was happening there. So they were trying to find something to do with him, and Brodito just became this like moment of serendipity because it got over so big with the fans,
Yeah.
particularly because like they kept showcasing, that they were really good buds, and you would have Bandito in there starting to do the Macarena as like a taunt, and the crowd was losing their shit over that, and then they would get really like invested in like, come on, Brody, do the Macarena, because Bandito would be like, come on, do it with me, and Brody was like, no, so like Bandito has just gotten to rise, and it doesn't feel like he was inflicted upon us. He was like, it's like they responded to what the crowd wanted, which is another area that I think AEW does better than WWE. I remember that the audience was really up on like Karrion Kross, and the audience was really up on R-Truth, and both of those men basically got let go at different points by WWE last year.
Yeah.
Karrion stuck. R-Truths was so opposed that I think they finally relented and rehired him. But I mean, it's like they don't know what to do with somebody who gets put over with the crowd on their own.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the culmination of that, is that you see Bandito we're taking this very seriously. It's not like Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio kind of a like lopsided thing here. And they gave us a hell of a match. Bandito got like all of his stuff in on MJF. And even as we ended the match, just to talk about the ending, Bandito had been struggling with a shoulder injury in storyline, right? And
Hmm.
so Maxwell starts deliberately attacking the shoulder over and over, and he puts him in the salt of the earth, which is like a rear arm bar, and that puts obviously strain on the shoulder. And when that doesn't work, he puts Bandito into the yes lock. And Daniel Bryan, or Brian Danielson, Daniel Bryan Danielson Bryan, is at the announce table, and he loses his shit because MJF is using his move. He's like, "Wait, that's the yes lock." Um and Bandito is in this, and he's fighting it, and he's fighting it until he finally passes out. And I hate to say it, but I do feel like that might be a little bit of a poke at John Cena's last match, where everybody and their brother thought he should have passed out, not tapped out. And Bandito, refusing to give up, his body gives out on him eventually, and MJF picks up the victory and is still the AEW World Champion. But even MJF, in a not so in character moment, a rare moment, he pays respect to his challenger by saying, when people before said to me that Bandito will be an AEW champion, one day, I laughed at him. But having wrestled you in this match, Bandito, I can tell you, you absolutely will be an AEW champion. Um, And with that said, that's why I need to do this. And then he proceeds to attack him, right? Which puts him right back into character, but he still managed to give a rare moment of like respect to Bandito. And I thought that was so good. That was so good. But
Yeah.
again, he stays in character by attacking him after the match, and he doesn't run off, and he immediately runs off when Brody King heads out there. And then, the show closes with Brody King kind of, trying to lift up and help Bandito, and Bandito's all back, Um,
Me,
but it was
me,
really
me.
fantastic. I greatly appreciated that rare moment of respect, only to be quickly reminded that he is a scumbag. He's our scumbag. And I thought this was a great main event. And the reason for me that I felt like this ended up being kind of a three-way tie for match of the night is that the opening match between Darby and Pac was absolutely incredible
Not
for
wrong. Not wrong.
the sick shit that was happening there. Like, I've never seen anyone take a belly to belly to the steps the way that Darby just took it. Like, I'm
Oh
like, how do you
man.
do that and not actually end up paralyzed? And just the beating that Pac put on Darby Allin, and then the way that ended up turning out for him, I was like, this is amazing. And this is the opening match. And then, of course, you have the multi-man tag match, which was just phenomenal for all the in-ring work. And then you have this incredible main event AEW championship match. So for me, it was really just too difficult for me to settle on. And, I honestly think that that might be a sign of just how good AEW is getting. If we can get to the end of the night and I can't tell you which match was the best because they were all so fucking good, then I don't know that there's anything more for AEW to do. They've hit fucking nirvana. They've gotten there. They have arrived. They are the best wrestling in the universe. So that was how I was kind of feeling about it. Like there were clearly like 3 matches that I felt like were contenders for match of the night, and I still haven't been able to settle on one. I just keep going back and forth. And to me, that is a sign of a fantastic fucking show. Like
Yeah,
if my biggest problem is I can't tell you which match was the best because they were so damn good, then I don't think I can praise it anymore.
yeah,
And so I feel like this is a good time for me to say, I'll go ahead and give my final review. AEW is truly where the best wrestle. I look forward to their programming and pay-per-views in a way I just can't for other promotions, most particularly WWE, which has become incredibly stale. That aside, this was an excellent episode of Dynamite. All the matches were good or great for what they were, and my toughest choice, as I previously mentioned, was deciding which of those 3 matches I spoke to was the match of the night.
yeah,
Um, this is an 8 out of 5, or maybe more out of 10 for me. Dynamite was absolutely top tier, and so
yeah.
that's my review.
Yeah, I think I'm going to share the same sentiment. Much like last week, this is another like 8.5 for me. Uh, Fantastic show. Yeah, don't know what else to say. Fantastic. Top tier.
Yeah. I don't think at this moment in time as a wrestling fan and to anybody who is listening to our podcast who is, maybe using our opinion to decide where they maybe want to turn their attention, I can't in good conscience recommend a wrestling product more highly than AEW right now. Um, maybe your sensibilities are different. I don't know, but if you want cool characters, wrestlers that you can get invested in ring action that is actually compelling and exciting to watch. It doesn't feel like it's a pre-practiced, heavily choreographed, hyper-produced cookie cutter event.
Yeah.
I can't in good conscience recommend anything more highly than AEW right now. It's
No.
just the fucking bee's knees. It
Yeah.
just
And I
really
mean,
is.
listen, if you're the if your argument is that there aren't like a lot of superstars in AEW, I don't know. Look, are there do I like every single wrestler in AEW? No, but do you like every single wrestler in WWE? I didn't think so, you know? So I mean it's like I think every person that they put in the ring, even if the wrestling style isn't my type, because they do give you all types of wrestling styles in
Yeah.
AEW. That
Yep.
actually means something in AEW whenever they say different styles of wrestling. You just don't get the one style that they think is in Japan right now. Whenever Shinsuke comes out and they start pulling out the strong style bullshit that nobody is really doing in like that's not a real big thing, in Japanese wrestling right now. But that's a whole nother story. But I mean, it's not just bullshit that people have pulled out of their ass. These dudes really do give you different styles, even if it's something I don't like. It's not because it's bad. It's not because they did it poorly.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
because it's
it's
not your preference.
It's just yeah, it's because it's just not my preference. Watching Brian Danielson, uh, in the match or in the ring, he was not my favorite, and yet whenever I heard, I'm like, yeah. So it,
Yep. Yeah.
It didn't matter, So it is what it is. And even with his style, I ended up getting invested in some of the matches that he was in because they were just good, plain and simple. Not my favorite wrestling style, still a good match. So yeah, again, I'm gonna go on a tangent, and I'm trying not to. So I'm just gonna say nine. I'm sorry, not 8.5, top tier, fantastic, and just in general, fantastic promotion. Like
Yeah.
I
Well,
am personally happy that we are now covering, because I mean, I
AEW.
makes me feel like a kid again when I'm talking about this show. There's
Yeah.
just so much good stuff that happens. So
Well, I think that was what was telling is it was getting harder and harder to feel motivated to watch WWE's Raw and SmackDown, and it was getting even harder than that to think of something I wanted to say on a podcast. I am a fan of pro wrestling. I don't want to just sit and bitch for an hour and a half. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, but I would like to speak to what you were just saying about, the variety of styles. That is an excellent point because you do get a wonderful variety of styles. And with the extra in ring freedom, I think you get an expression of those styles that's more authentic than, kind of more watered down versions. Um, and you're absolutely right. Like I have my two favorite general pro wrestling styles. Like I absolutely love the big power wrestlers that like to throw power bombs, choke slams, and body slams. I mean, those are my guys. And then just behind that, I really like the acrobatics of luchadors. And then near the bottom is typically where I would have like my strikers and my technicians, because I mean, for me, oh, this is going to be a technical match means I'm going to be asleep because it's just going to be them like top wrist locking until somebody puts on a submission move. You know what I mean? But in AEW, I've seen strikers like Mike Bailey is a striker, and I absolutely love that guy. And I've seen some Japanese style matches. I don't know if strong style is still in fashion to call it, but there's definitely a style in Japan that is distinct from the more American style. That's much more like, I'm not going to sell your strikes because my warrior spirit is so strong. I don't have to put up with your crap until you force me to do it. And sometimes that could just end up being like 90 minutes of titty slapping, but they haven't been of late. They've been really good, like Takeshita, and I mean it's just fantastic. And even on the technical side, as much as I'm not into that style, I promise you I'll watch the shit out of Zack Sabre Jr. That dude is phenomenal at making his technical style entertaining.
yeah.
So yeah, you brought up a very good point about the different styles that get shown off and that they're actually able to kind of showcase it because AEW gives them the freedom to do whatever crazy shit they're trying to do in the ring, as long as they can pull it off safely. So yeah, that was a really good point. That said, I would like to thank everybody who joined us for this episode as we covered AEW Dynamite Maximum Carnage. And I would invite everyone to join us for our next episode, which should be our coverage of AEW Collision this week. Until then, I don't think there's much left for me to do but roll the outro.
Bye, y'all. It's a y'all day.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Top Tier Wrestling. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest WWE news and shows. You can find us on all major podcast platforms as well as our YouTube channel where we upload all of our episodes. You can also follow us on Instagram and X for updates and to join the conversation. Until next time, everyone, remember, wrestling is always better when it's top tier.